His name is Patrick Mahomes. He's the best quarterback in this league, on this planet, in this universe, unless you happen to know Thanos and he just snaps him out of existence. These facts are undeniable. Last night proved that, especially when you take a look at the rest of the league and what's coming down. This puts the Chiefs in a playoff run position. They could be going for the number 1 seed. Again, we're going to get into all it tonight. I'm not even going to give you the intro. This is Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. Let's do this. Welcome, Chiefs Kingdom. Glad you guys are back. This is Q&A. This is your night. You guys drive the show. All we do is answer the questions. So Let us know what you want to talk about, and we will get to ripping. If you would, like, sub, hit the bell. Become one of us here on RGR Nation. You can get some of the gear if you like in the store. That's always nice. Well, what did I miss, Dan?
Nothing. Just saying the gear.
Oh, the gear.
Just pointing to it right there.
This is the Rogue Nation gear. Always my favorite. But we have some good stuff. And we have some new stuff coming as well. And you'll be able to get the In Harm's Way gear very shortly. As soon as I can get that approved, we are out the door. So welcome, everybody. I know you're pumped. I know we're all pumped because looking back on that game, this is the epitome of what Patrick is like. My dead body game, that kind of thing. I know that we say that all the time, but that's really what it is. Like just that snap to, I have to take it. I have to go do this to show everybody that we can. Do you think that it is a misnomer that he is that good? Is there any argument that you have for what I just said?
Let's see about this. He dropped back 68 times. The Tennessee Titans knew what was coming. Okay? They never had to worry about the run except from him, because if you go back and watch, just go back to the Bills game in the playoffs last year. When it was there, he was taking it because he understood what the Bills were trying to do. Titans did the same thing. They were much more physical. They were holding more. They were getting away with more than the Bills did in that game. So when it came down to it, Mahomes is like, fine, you guys want to do this? I'm going to take what I can, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did to you in the playoffs 3 years ago when they won the Super Bowl. And I'm going to run, and I'm going to run, and I'm going to run again. And then when I can't run and get a first down, I'm going to stop on a dime, make this guy run by me, and throw a moonshot down the field to Noah Gray. There's things that you just can't stop. Or to Travis Kelce, who plucks the ball out of the air, moving to his left, comes back to his right. These are things that you can't defend. Patrick Mahomes in that mode was indefensible. And I know that it took a while for them to get there, but he flipped this switch, and that's why he's the greatest quarterback in the NFL, because for everything that Josh Allen is, go back and watch the game against the Jets. He was not good. He was not good.
He was off. That's for sure.
And this was even before the injury. I know he's got some issues going forward with his health, so hope the best of Josh Allen in his elbow. But he was making some very poor decisions. Patrick Mahomes didn't make poor decisions in that game. I don't know if he even had a legitimate turnover-worthy play. I don't think he did. He was incredibly safe with the ball. He knew what he was doing. He got rid of it when he had to. He took off when he had to and when he could. I mean, I got nothing.
What are you going to do? Oh, man, I tell you what. We have these discussions in the Discord. I want you guys to see that down there. You can do it by clicking the join button here on the channel. It's underneath Dan over there. And once you're a member, you can go over to the Discord, which is RGR Nation. You can find that on Discord, or you can follow the bit.ly/RGR Nation and get there. And then it all links together, and you become part of the inner circle. Our members get access to stuff. In fact, I have something coming from me and Sam Hayes from last week that I think you guys are going to dig. That's going to be a members-only video. That'll come out here midweek. We have other things that we do. If you want to hear us cuss and talk as though we're all sitting around on the back porch, you got to do in the memberships, because the algorithm doesn't like it when I cuss, so I don't do that anymore. It ended badly. Doesn't work for me. Evidently, this face and those words don't get combined very well.
Maybe I should just start swearing more. The algorithm will like that.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Maybe.
In fact, here is the Bitly Nation, RGR Nation link. You guys can follow that as well. And cheers to FLDB for setting all that stuff up and making our lives easier. Going to get into your questions here and continue. First, Paul was asking about Tyree Wilson, Texas Tech. He's an edge. Is he a Spags guy? Yeah, he actually is, because he's super long. He doesn't come off the ball with any kind of speed. He needs to play with lower pad level. But yeah, he's exactly a Spags guy.
Looks kind of like it.
He's also, in my opinion, very, very raw. I don't know what his arm length is. I think he's listed at 6'7". That's huge. It's hard to play with good pad level at that height. If you do, it's got to be almost like it's natural. And I don't see that on film so far, Paul. Dan, I know you've gotten just a glimpse, but anything different that you disagree with me on?
No, for his size, he needs at least 20 to 30 more pounds at the very least, in my opinion, to be a true Spags guy. Because you can be as long as you want to. The problem is that in this defense, they want you to be thick.
Yeah.
Look at the defensive line. I mean, Frank Clark lost some weight, and he's finally got some get up and get off on the ball. And look, it's kind of turning him into a much better pass rusher. But Karlaftis is a bigger dude. Dana, he can play inside, he can play outside. You got Dunlap, who's that bigger, taller guy. He's got some weight on him too. Herring, 280 plus. Like, he does not want a lanky defensive end. And when you're that size, you need a little bit more twitch to your ankle flexion. It's so hard to be able to sink hips, dip, bend properly at that size. So I haven't seen a whole lot, but I have seen the body type and him move a little bit. And right now, we'll see. I'll get into more tape of him, but I want to hold off on making vast assumptions about his play until we get further into the tape.
Yeah, I've watched about 30 seconds so far, to tell you the truth, Paul. So, he is definitely not a player that we've studied yet. We definitely will, I guarantee you. He does show up on my edge metrics that you can find over on NFL 33. You got to be a member for that one. I'm going to show you guys something on Frank Reich here coming up that isn't, and you guys can all have that for free. Bert, thank you. What can the Chiefs do going forward with the O-line who can't block 4 rushers, give Mahomes a couple more seconds to get the ball out to open targets? You can do what you saw Tony do. There's that clip going around him. It's on my timeline too. Tony with an absolutely devastating chip block, like better than MVS, better than Demarcus Robinson ever did. Like, I mean, incredible. Good for him. He had very few things that he could do to affect the game last night, and he took it on himself and did it. You have to do more of that. There's no replacement. There's nobody on this roster, in my opinion, right now, unless Lucas Niang is healthy, that can upgrade either of your tackle spots. Dan, do you see anybody else in depth that they should try?
No, it doesn't. It's not going to help. But so again, part of the problem is that they were giving Mahomes more than enough time. If you go back and watch the game, he did have to hold on to the ball longer than the offense should operate. So this is right now, with the way that the Titans and most defenses are playing, this is a get the ball out quick offense. It has to be out quick. This is not 2018 where you're going to get, or even the Super Bowl where you get, do I have time to run wasp? They don't have time for these longer developing routes. Guys aren't getting open because defenses are saying, no, you're not doing it. You're just not doing it. So they have to get open, and that helps the offensive line. It helps Mahomes. And you saw after when they started to get the ball out quicker in the fourth quarter and in overtime. Did you guys see much? Again, there was a sack, I think, in the third quarter the fourth quarter where that was that 3rd and 17. But other than that, they were just trying to get the ball out, and they were getting the ball out quickly. That has to be more of the focal point and help the offensive line, because your offensive tackles aren't going to hold up all day. You just kind of have to work it.
And that's route design. It's putting routes together specifically so you can get the ball out fast.
Yeah.
That's part of Andy. So it's not any one thing. It's not just the tackles. It's on Andy as well. Tone, is Jalen Hyatt going to be available where the Chiefs are picking this year? He's elite speed and can provide explosiveness in the offense it doesn't have right now.
Okay, guys. I've seen so much of Jalen Hyatt. I'm just going to cut you off. I'm sorry. This is not a player the Chiefs need. This is McCole Hardman. Jalen Hyatt is McCole Hardman. Maybe a little bit faster, maybe. But he does not create. There is a big reason that the Tennessee offense is split wide and it's stack formations, because they hide their players that cannot get open any other way, and they use it for a ton of space. Defenses, that Alabama game, they did not respect the speed. I don't know what it was. They just didn't cover him deep. He was running open, wide open. So I know there's a lot of talk about Jalen Hyatt being, this super fast, explosive guy. He doesn't have much twitch. He doesn't have much make you miss. He is just a burner.
He is a burner.
He's McCole Hardman. Sure.
And look what happened against Georgia. What did he have? 62 yards, something like that?
Yeah. It's just he doesn't have the ability to create on his own. That's a problem.
But that said, Tone, yes, he'll be available when they're selecting because he's going to be a third or fourth round pick. So
He should be a third or fourth round pick.
yeah,
He's probably going to get taken in the second because of his speed, but
that could be. But yeah, he does provide an element, not all the elements. But yeah, when left alone, he certainly has the ability to run away from people. If he can get stacked on a single on a receiver on a DB, he can run away from him. So there is that aspect. Justin Watson needs a contract. Yes, faster than we realized in good special teams. I mean, he's on a 1 year, right?
yeah, I think so.
Bring him back on a similar deal. You know,
I got no problems with it. He's a very good complimentary player.
Yeah,
I'm fine with it.
I agree. And cheaper than MVS, who for what I think could evolve into similar production, right?
Better production.
Okay, better. I don't want to like set you off, but yeah, MVS.
You guys know how I feel. You guys know how I feel.
Yeah, it's not a mystery. Right now, Juju's leading this team in receiving yards for anyone not named Travis Kelce at 581, and I believe that MVS is right behind him at 381. So 200 yards difference.
Yeah.
So I would think that you'd be able to get to a point where you can make that up.
Yeah, McColl's going to pass him the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think so. And I thought he was going to lead the team in yards, to tell you the truth. So I'm a bit surprised, but hey, it is what it is. With our run game non-existent and our O-line giving up many sacks, how do we reasonably expect the outcome over the last 2 years? Honestly, they have no less run game than they had when they won the Super Bowl. The difference is the defense is not as good as the defense was that year. So there's 4 corners of a ball game, right? You have your offense, you have your defense, you have your special teams, and you have your run game, right? Pass game in Kansas City's out the door. Not a problem.
Not a problem.
If you can't raise your run game, but you can raise your defense, you're still propping yourself up more. And so I don't think it's as dire. Honestly, it all comes back to me, Dan. They just have to decide they want to do it. Because in the games that we've seen over the last 3 years that they want to run, they're able to run.
Yeah, I know that we talked a little bit last night about the will to it. And for me, I've reflected on it. I've also talked a little bit to Brandon Thorne. I don't necessarily know if it's an offensive line want to issue because, as he pointed out, I don't think there's an NFL offensive line that doesn't want at any level that doesn't want to run the football. I think it has to do with the coaching, and the emphasis is clearly on the passing game, and maybe there isn't a concerted enough effort week to week in practice to install a real running game. Like maybe
I don't even know
that's
if it's
just what it
install
is.
so much as just practice it.
Oh yeah, that too. Like it feels like I put a clip out this morning, them trying to run trap. They tried. They actually did. They pulled Trey Smith. They got him. They got the lane down really well. Creed does get blown up, but again, he does his job holding off the guy so that CH can follow the block around. Trey Smith gets blown up by Cunning, the linebacker in the hole. Blown up. Just blown up.
Yeah. I got to say, that surprised me because I don't think Cunningham's that powerful take on.
I wonder if his pec injury is hurting him more in the run game than it is in the passing game, because Brandon Thorne actually put up a montage of him in pass protection against Jeffrey Simmons. That was fun. That he actually did way better than I expected him to in some of those one-on-one matchups. So maybe it's impacting him in the run game because he doesn't look great in the run game, and that's where he should flourish.
Yeah, you would think, right? Hey, I still think there's an ankle thing going on as well too, because when you watch that particular play as well as 2 of the ones where he got beat on the pass game, like he's just not getting out of his stance like he was earlier in the year. So there's there. I'm stacking some more questions, you guys. If you want to help out the channel, hit the super chats. I got a bunch of you guys lined up. Don't worry, we will pay off your support for us. Absolutely. Coming right up here as I stack the rest of these questions. And here we go. Okay, so was I the only one who didn't feel we missed Clark and could be telling for the future? I still can't wait for him to get back. I thought they missed him a lot, to tell you the truth. Let's see, can I pull it up? If you look at Derrick Henry's run chart from last night, everything big was out over the edge. And that's exactly where Frank would have been. Yeah, both of them.
No, there was one he ran right up the gut.
I'm looking at it right here.
I watched it. There's one he ran right up the gut and right by the linebackers that was not off the edge. I promise you.
For more than 5 yards? Because that's what's here. Okay.
No,
Well,
I watched it. They probably
I'm
got it wrong.
gonna show you what the track shows you, and you can tell me what you think, because that's not what I'm seeing here. And I have not had a chance to go back and rewatch the game, so that's on me. But this is what the track shows you. And you see, starting both from the offset on the right-hand side.
Okay, so it's the one that ends up out to the left. He did cut it up the middle and go out to the left.
Okay.
That's the
Fair
one
enough.
that I'm thinking of. But yeah, that was that one to the right was really frustrating.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's honestly, maybe Frank isn't on that side that play. Maybe Frank is on the opposite side. But the point being is that Frank actually sets the edge as good as anybody at the defensive end position in this league against the run. We know he's not getting the production that we want out of the pass game, but he does set that edge in the run game well. And I think they missed that in the first half. Now, they got that. I think Karlaftis did better later in the game. I think when Dana was out there, he was good. I actually like Dana inside at 3-tech a lot last night.
That year at Michigan has really helped him be multiple in this defensive line, and I think that's going to be something we see even more, especially when Clark comes back. I think you can see that a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. So it was a good point, but yeah, I do think they missed him a little bit. Maybe not in the pass pressure so much. Although Jones, Karlaftis, and Carlos combined, they only had an average of 4 pressures each. So yeah, there's still a ways to go there. They could have used some more. I'm going to go cough my brains out while you answer this question.
All right, appreciate you, Scott. What was Tennessee's defensive line doing that abused our offensive line so badly throughout this game? So it's a combination of a couple of things, and I touched on the biggest one earlier, is that when they weren't getting the ball out quickly, it's because guys weren't open. So Mahomes has to hold onto the football. This offensive line, specifically the tackle situation, is not built to hold up past 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds. And we kind of saw that where the tackles just couldn't hold up to that time. Sometimes the interior was getting beat across their face. There were a couple of big losses, but again, you're going to have some throughout the game. But the majority of the pressures, in my opinion, were coming from the edge, collapsing a pocket. They were also doing a really good job of collapsing, but keeping that edge set the majority of this game. Before Bud Dupree came out, that's what they were doing. It was a really fantastic job of collapsing, but maintaining their rushing lanes, because as soon as Patrick gets out, like that's when it gets over, and we saw that. So it was extremely well coached. Again, the defensive game plan was brilliant for this offense. Be physical don't care about the holding penalties, the illegal contact penalties. They're going to get called far less than they are going to get called, and that came to fruition last night. If you can make Mahomes hold onto that ball for 3 seconds, someone's getting there, he's getting forced to move off the spot, you're doing something right. So the Titans that is the game plan for the Chiefs offense. Honestly, that's what it is until they learn it can get open better against more man coverage like that, or develop some kind of run game. That's what you're going to see. And not every team can do it. The Titans are set up perfectly to do just that.
Yeah, and they bring a physicality that is tough for the Chiefs line to deal with.
Yeah.
Let's give credit where credit's due. That D line is physical, and they can be dominating at times.
It's one of the best in the NFL. Like, it doesn't get talked about, but it's one of the best.
It is, and I think that from a team that likes to play a lot of angles and likes to play a lot of athleticism, sometimes they get away from the physicality of it, and that's it. Holly, thank you for the support. Appreciate you. And you don't like to get on rants. I know this about you, but I'm sick and tired of people saying that the Chiefs are constantly helped by the refs, and we should be 3-5 instead of 6-2. Okay, I'm done with the understand if you don't comment. Oh, we will definitely comment because we agree with you. What did you threw it out last night? There were more flags thrown and accepted.
Then there were more flags accepted against Kansas City than there were thrown against Tennessee Titans. Like, come on, this is nonsense. Like, and if you even go back to before the game, the referee crew that was there has a huge hand in home team penalties. It's something that I saw tweeted out during the game, and I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. They throw that crew throws a lot of flags against the home team. You just got to deal with the hand you're dealt. That's what it is.
Well, and they're throwing a lot of flags too. Andy even talked about in his presser today that they're up.
Like 20 penalties in that game last night that were thrown. At least.
It was crazy. And don't get me wrong, folks. There's holding on every play. You look in the trenches, there's holding 3-4 times. It always happens. It's discretionary, unfortunately. But this crew has a tendency to penalize not only the home team, but they seem to have it in for the Chiefs as well. It just is what it is. I think this is a derivative of success, where every other fan base, when they don't have another explanation, it's all the refs helped you. That's the way that it goes. It's just,
Yep.
it's lazy rooting, in my opinion. But hey, Jonathan, thank you. Keep up the great work. We will. My question for you guys is: after watching the last couple of games, which side of the ball would you focus on getting better in the next draft? I don't know that I'd pick a side. It's not as clear cut to me as it has been in years past, Dan.
It's not a side. There's just one aspect, and it's the trenches. Like, it's the trenches. That's where it is for me. The defensive tackle, defensive end, offensive tackle. That's where the majority of my resources are going right now.
Yeah, and I gotta say, for the draft specifically, I would probably go after a defensive tackle in free agency. I think there's more value there myself. So for me, it's just the ends of the lines on offense and defense. I'm totally with you there.
That too.
They've had good evaluations and good luck mentoring and bringing along the DBs. I think that will continue.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think that you can afford to focus on that as well. Obviously, there still could be another wide receiver acquisition. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. Sure. The rumors are starting to fly more and more, but that it could be a secondary look as well. You know, get another weapon. Always restock the weapons for Patrick. It's a year in, year out process, folks.
Every single year.
Yep. Spards, hope you're doing well. Thank you, sir. Did the Chiefs put different guys in defensive uniforms at halftime? They look like bottom of the barrel in the first half and the best defense in the league in the second. I would actually love to be a fly on the wall at halftime because there was a market turnaround. But I will say also, for me, just looking, and I've only seen the broadcast, not all 22. I don't even know if it's out yet.
It is out from what I understand, yeah.
Okay. And somebody asked me about bear fronts. I didn't see an actual bear front all night long. A bear front is 5 defensive linemen, folks. Walking a linebacker down to an overhang position, that's not a bear. So I do think that what they did is they got more disciplined in their assignments and they maintained their alignments in their lanes, not letting the creases show up as much in the second half.
They also, the Tennessee Titans, got scared to run their quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure if I'm telling you right now, they got in that film room and they are kicking themselves for not running Malik Willis a little bit more because that could have opened up the game for them. And as well as the defense played, you give them their roses. They deserve for what they did and what the Tennessee Titans did. But if Malik Willis is more of a factor with his legs in this game, I don't know if we're talking right now about them being 6-2. I do think it had that big of an impact, but you can't talk about what they didn't do anymore. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that in the second half, 1 first down for the Titans. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, that was incredible. And whether it's just the discipline, I felt it was a little more physical. I felt like they actually stepped up to the challenge of getting beat up physically in the first half.
Yeah.
And I put a lot of that on specifically on Chris Jones and Colin Saunders, rallying the front, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was great. They did a great job. Colin Saunders, man. I know we talked a lot about it last night, but
we'll talk about him more. People are already asking. We'll get there. Yeah, Bill, that's exactly it. There's average Patrick. There's, hey, he's got to work a little harder. I'm going to put it on my shoulders. And then there's Reaper. And when he has to hit that, it's scorched earth, and I'm here for it. Should we bring in Frank Reich as an offensive assistant? Chris asked. I don't think that that's really appropriate at this point. I think Frank's had a really tough struggle. And honestly, if you guys want to see, or more specifically hear of what I think of what's going on in Indy, because I do think it has a relevance, not just for the league, but for Kansas City. I put this out a little while ago. You can get it on NFL 33. And it's a combination. I write like crap. I am terrible. I can't spell. I have all kinds of issues with punctuation, but I talk pretty good. So what you get when you come over to NFL 33 from me will be a couple of paragraphs that are checked to bejesus to make sure that they're decent. And then I'll tell you what I think in audio. So if you guys would like that, we covered the whole entire league. Dan and I, as well as a couple of new contributors, are coming on to start helping us as we approach the offseason. So don't miss that. If you want to support us too, there is a subscriber base there. This one's free and open for everyone. You can find it in my timeline. But yeah, I think it's been so much. He's been through so much. He thought he had it with Wentz. Then he thought he was going to be able to put it together with Matt Ryan. That has nothing to do with Andrew Luck and everything else. I think Frank Reich is probably a little shell-shocked right now. That's just my opinion.
I don't disagree with you. Also, you have to remember Jim Irsay is trying to do what Jerry Jones does in Dallas.
Yeah.
In my opinion, that's what he's trying to do. And I don't think that he wanted to move on from Carson Wentz. I think Jim Irsay called him into the office and said, "We're trading Carson Wentz." I don't think he had any influence on that decision. I also think that Frank Reich has had less and less influence over the roster over the last 3 years, and Jim Irsay has been getting more of the people that he wants in and things that he wants. I mean, Jim Irsay talks about how great a leader Matt Ryan is, and then the very next week they bench him. Like this
Yeah.
is after. I mean, it was a bad game of Ryan's, but
Yeah.
look at what Sam Ellinger just did, and he doesn't. That the press conference he had where he talks about not knowing that that could have happened. He just doesn't look in a great state of mind. I think it'd be beneficial for him to take the rest of the year off, spend time with his family, get his head right. And if had Matt Nagy not been in Kansas City this season, maybe you look to get him just some breathing room. You got Patrick Mahomes, you have Andy
Yep.
Reid, people guys that have worked with him before, things like that. But right now, I think he's best for him to just kind of stay away from football and get his head right.
I think that could help. And my fear is that Chris Ballard and I've talked to some folks in that organization over the years. Really, really tight crew that does a good job in building that roster. And I agree with you. And folks, just to give you a little preview of my piece, go check that out. I do think that the whole organization is being run by one guy at the top, and that's a negative for that organization.
Yeah.
Is Mahomes now solidly in the MVP discussion? Who you got? He was never out of the discussion because of Patrick Mahomes. He was just not one of the leaders. Now I think you have to say that he is. If not anything, he's still on track for what? Over 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards.
He's over 5,045 touchdowns. Like that's what they have him
45?
on track for right now. Which
Okay.
I mean, 5,400 yards in the air. Like, come on now, guys. Like this is.
And if Josh Allen misses anything more than a game, he
It's
falls
over for
behind,
him.
and my money's
Yeah.
on Patrick.
As much as I think that Jalen Hurts is very good in that offense, and he does a ton of running on the ground, which can get you there.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see over the course of the next few months things get a little harder for him. And that's just my opinion. We'll see, and I hope he proves me wrong because I was a fan of Jalen Hurts coming out, and if you watch, he's gotten better every single year. He's been not just in college, but into the NFL every single year. There's a step. There's a step. There's a step.
Yep.
Give a lot of credit to Nick Sirianni and in the Philadelphia Eagles organization. By the way, how smart are the Philadelphia Eagles looking right now for plucking Nick Sirianni from the coaching staff in Indianapolis and making him their head coach? He's done a great job. I don't know if he gets enough national credit for what he's done, but if Jalen Hurts is definitely a full-blown MVP candidate. Mahomes is just Mahomes, and he's better. He's been better than everybody this year, in my opinion.
And if nothing else, on Sirianni, he's done what every coach should be doing, or at least thinking about. He's adapted his system to meet his quarterback's abilities, not the opposite. That's how you take a quarterback that most people had set sail on. You and I were very, very much in the minority about Jalen Hurts when he came out and what he's done to this point. And now this is proving us correct that if you adapt to your quarterback, which is something that the Titans didn't do last night, you can still get things done and be successful in this league. We'll see what happens when it comes to playoff time. Miss Holly, you're absolutely right. 446 and 63. I mean, 509 yards of offense. Yourself. If I hear the word yak monster one more time from anyone in my mentions, I'm done. It's over. Oscar, welcome. So Travis is super frustrated last night when he saw through his helmet, and when he dropped that one, would have gotten us out of field goal range in the end. Thoughts? Yeah, he should be super frustrated. He's better than that. Mm-hmm. It's not like it was one of those super wicked throws where he's running this way and Patrick puts it here. In those cases, he should be frustrated with Patrick a little bit because Patrick gets off when he's, way off and like throwing off of one big toe. But in that one, that was on Trav, and I think he knows that. I'm interested to see what he says about it in his podcast this week.
Me too, because he's as real as it gets, guys. He is as real a person as I mean, we don't get many podcasts of guys that play in the league. So this one with Jason, if you don't listen to it, I'm telling you right now, there's so much great information. You get to really see how these guys are not together, just together, but they're so different.
Yeah.
This is what makes NFL players the greats, the greats.
I'm sad to say I identify with Jason a little bit more.
I understand. Like most people do. He's a little more down to earth. He's a little more just kind of mellow. Travis is he is
Yeah.
go all the
Yeah.
time. He is, and that's why him and Patrick get along so well. These guys are just we're going. So anytime he has a game like he did last night, still had 10 catches for 100 plus yards, and he was disappointed in himself. He's going to show his emotions, and I love it. I love it.
Is Hardman playing his way into a second contract with the Chiefs? No. But he's making himself dollars from that free agent contract that's coming from somebody else.
That's what it is. Because if he wouldn't be pricing himself out of Kansas City, I would say yes. Because in my opinion, the last month and a half has been his best month and a half of football in his entire career. Career. And like you said, Christian Kirk last year kind of ruined any chance of McCole Hardman having a decent year and staying in Kansas City. He's going to get paid by somebody. Good for him. Make all the money you can. If you would have been to continue to play this way, I'd love for you to be in Kansas City. We'll see what ends up happening, but I would imagine he's not here next year.
I think he's in Los Angeles. I think Sean McVay goes, I need some of the jet sweep stuff that my guys evidently can't remember how to do correctly. I'm going to throw McCole in here. I think you're going to see the parity go the opposite way, and McVay's going to go out and do something a little bit different because I think he's gotten stale.
And he also tried that with Tutu Atwell. He was like, I'm going to take this guy who's super fast in the second round, but Tutu Atwell
146 pounds doesn't work.
Even smaller than McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
It'll work.
Dan, is there anybody that stood out to you from Mizzou on Saturday?
Yeah, so I was unfortunately ill-prepared to deal with the weather, and my daughter, I made sure my daughter was okay, but she was not having the cold after the first quarter. We did end up leaving. It was also, the wind was blowing. Like it was whipping and it was cold. The game didn't have much energy when we were there. Like Mizzou didn't, Mizzou's Mizzou. Kentucky is Kentucky. I didn't get much feel again. I wasn't there the whole game. I did end up watching some of the rest of it on TV afterwards. But no, I didn't get a whole lot of feel from the game like I hoped to. I was hoping. I checked the weather and I was like, okay, I can do this. We get there. It's not even close because this is Missouri. And it changes an hour to hour. But yeah, it was.
Just wait 5 minutes. It's fine.
It was rough.
Oregon, you're right. Spags will make adjustments. I can't say they always work, but he'll make adjustments eventually. I will give him credit. He seems to be quicker on the trigger this year than he has been in seasons past. So sure. I think that does make an impact on the game overall. Yep. Where would you rank McDuffie among rookie corners? Number one?
No, he's number three because he hasn't been able to play. He hasn't been able to play. I know you don't care.
Meaningless to me. Watch him move.
Watch him move. He's going to be among the best corners in the NFL in the next 2 years. I fully believe that. But I do think that Woolen and Sauce not only have the snaps played enough, they've got some of the production too. So I would still put them up there because they have consistent play over the course of the first 9 games of the season. But McDuffie's going to be right there by the time season's end. I promise you that much.
Yeah, it's just a little hiccup here. What has he played? I think he got 49 snaps last night, 32 the week before. So he hasn't even broken 100 snaps yet. Brian Dan, who has the better running game, Chiefs or Bills?
Well, let's think about this really quickly. Fully healthy, the Bills do because they have Josh Allen, and Josh Allen runs the ball like a part of their offense. Mahomes is more the scrambler. They're not going to call anything for it. And you have to think about how it's how they play each other. The Bills will run the ball against the Chiefs, and they're successful in doing so. Even with their actual running back run game, they bring 2 tight ends out. So I would still lean the Bills, especially in this 1-versus-1 scenario, which I would say means more than just overall run game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Cook a lot. They traded away Moss, right? But I do like Singletary.
Yeah, I don't like Cook at all, to be honest with you. But
you don't like Cook at all?
Not really.
All right. That's fine. I'll take him. It's fine. He's mine. My guy.
I'll take Hines over Cook.
Okay. What adjustment could the O-line create more time for Patrick and increase the running game? Get your feet moving. Hey, get out of your stance a little bit faster. That'd be great.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked a little bit earlier. I want the coaching staff to have more of an emphasis on it in practice. That's kind of what I think is the biggest issue.
Agreed. What defensive player impressed you the most last night? I think I know what you're going to say.
I mean, it's Colin Saunders, guys. Colin Saunders was the most impressive player on defense, and that's not taken away from McDuffie, L'Jarius Sneed, who was everywhere. Chris Jones was, being double teamed and just ridiculous. Yeah, I think Colin Saunders was the most impressive guy on the field in the second half.
And I'll agree with you. I'm impressed because he's the guy that I think stepped up the most.
Correct.
I think he raised his level of play last night specifically the most. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Hey, Cole. Hope you're doing good, buddy.
Up,
Thanks for the support. Good to see you, bud. I gotta email you or something. We gotta connect. I got a couple of ideas here. I'm super late on that one thing we were talking about, but you know how I work. I'm always late. So, but hey, everybody say hi to Cole. I know you guys know where to find his channel. How about them Chiefs? Sorry, those Chiefs. I always say them for some reason, Cole. Apologies. Thanks, buddy. What defensive player are you most? Okay, got that one. Sorry. Cold it. If you're the GM, do you push hard for Odell, or do you think that we're just need to get Tony up to speed? It's getting real tight. There were 7 receivers on the roster last night, active.
Yeah. You also have
getting tight.
Juju's going to earn more of his contract, by the way. So that's going to take numbers against the books, which is the biggest reason, in my opinion, that they were freeing up cap space, is because Juju's going to be making the incentives that were in his contract. So I'm personally not pushing as hard to get Odell, because I don't know if they'll have the money to do it to begin with. But also, I think that the Kadarius can add an element to this offense that even Odell doesn't give you to an extent. So, and that's not to say he's a better player than Odell Beckham. It's not, because he's not right now. He's
not anywhere close.
No, it's the element of the run after the catch and the jitteriness and the explosion that he brings that I think can be something this offense desperately needs. But if they don't feel that he's going to get up to speed quick enough, I understand you make the push and try to get Odell and then just deactivate probably Sky Moore, and everyone loses their minds.
Yeah, and that will absolutely happen. I would tell you this, though. I'm very happy with Juju. He's done exactly what I had hoped. I still don't know that I would consider him a number 1 receiver.
No, I don't. I agree with you on that. I don't consider him it. The fact that he is nice right now. Like, it's nice to see that he's the guy. But again, we're seeing I think that this kind of is the de facto Travis Kelce is your number 1 receiver, and that's why Juju is your number 2, and that's why it works. But in an offense where Noah Gray is your number 1 tight end, it does not work the same. So, and still, you want to feel more comfortable. And I think that Juju would love to have a little bit of a complimentary wide receiver that can help him a little bit. That's not MVS, just running wind sprints down the field.
Well, yeah, and that's why Juju's like, his guys will get wide. Yeah, bring it, Odell. I'm going to hit all my incentives if you do that, because they will instantly take all coverage to Odell. And Odell's still coming off of a knee, for God's sake. Yeah. So, like, it's crazy that way. But, yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about the money. If you can add him. If you can get the money part done, just do it. Go get another ring. You put him on this thing, all of a sudden you have to not play Watson. Maybe you don't play MVS. I don't know. But the fact that you've made it that much more and you have a true number 1 at that point, if he's completely healthy, big caveat there, that just makes you that much more unstoppable. Let's see. Do they give Rojo a chance? No. They will not activate Rojo unless somebody gets hurt. They're planning for someone to get hurt. That's why they're not going to give him up.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Like, this is
at some point, Jerick McKinnon's going to, hurt himself blocking. I got to tell you,
I'm just very happy that he's still on the team right now. He's given them everything that they've asked of him, so I'm very happy with what they've done. But I kind of agree with a tweet that Eric Eager had earlier this week that when they need a running back, they go to Jerick McKinnon. He's like the guy for them when they need something. So that tells you the state of their running back room.
I completely agree with you. Justin, I'm glad we are nice and clear tonight. I appreciate that. I'm sorry, you guys got to look at this when it's clear, but hey, that's the trade-off, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate your support, man. You too, Jaden. Can they develop No Gray into something big? Yeah, I mean, kudos to Noah because I buried him as the tight end 3, and he's continued to improve. That catch that he made last night, that's something he did at Duke. Like he was
Yep.
able to elevate and show body control and do those things. That's why he's here. So good for him for making what I feel now, Dan, is the transition to the NFL level to be able to do what you were capable of before against this competition.
Yeah, also it's a confidence booster, not just for Noah Gray, but for Patrick Mahomes. And again, trust is it. He does not have trust in MVS. That's why he's not getting the ball. Sky Moore doesn't have trust. That's why he's not getting the ball. Juju is taking that trust mantle. I think he has some trust with Justin Watson as well. And we're seeing it grow with Noah Gray on a week-to-week basis. So that's what you have to do. As a receiver in this league, on this team, you need to show your quarterback, hey, I'm good. I got you. Like, that's what you have to do. You have to be able to do it. Noah Gray right now is doing that, and I love it.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. It's going to earn him more targets as well. Papa Sanders, thank you for the support. Excited for the Tony. That route was nasty. Yeah. He does a great job. And that's his thing. And not only, but the big clip that you saw with him in the block, right, in that chip, he still ran the pivot route. So if that guy had a line inside, he still had the pivot down. And that's the thing is I don't think the Chiefs run enough of those with anybody other than Kels because it works so well for him. They call it a jerk route. You can call it a pivot. You can call it there's another name for it. I don't know. I can't keep up with all the dang names for it. It doesn't matter. But yeah, he's got that change direction from Tony is going to be nasty once he gets up to speed. Lance, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Is that Australia? Is that what that is? I like the little A next to it. Thanks, buddy. How far away the O-line from being effective run blocking O-line? Are there any running backs you wish the Chiefs would draft in 23? I'd love to see Devin Neal. Just saying. Let's put a Jayhawk on the roster. You could probably get him in the 6th round, bro.
Give me Tank Bigsby.
Okay, yeah, I can get down with that too.
I'm a big Tank guy.
My only thing is it's got to be day 3. No day 1 or 2 running backs, folks. And to be serious, Lance, the O-line, they are about, I would say, a practice and a half a week from getting to the point where they're effective. They just got to practice it because when they put their nose down and they want to do it, they can.
And I think we also have to look in a little bit of a mirror. They've played a lot of top run defenses this year already to this point. They have. Yeah. They played the best one last night. That is the best defense against the run in the NFL. And they showed why. Like, that's just is what it is. I think we're going to see the Jaguars coming up this weekend. I think you're going to see a better run game this weekend. And not just because it's the Jaguars, but I think you're going to have a little bit of an effort to get it going, to get into the November, December timeframe running the ball. It means more. And I know that that's something a lot of people with spreadsheets and stuff don't want to talk about or quantify. But it does mean a little bit more in the cold weather to be able to run the football. It just does.
No, it makes, I think, a big difference. Thanks, Lance. Appreciate you. Des, welcome back to the memberships. I think you've been here before, but glad you made it back. Justin, I love how Seth said that Mahomes running is the funniest thing in the NFL. I agree. He looks wonky, completely original in his jukes. I mean, hey, it works, though.
There is a reason that he and Bobby have been working this for a while because he is unique. He's a unique athlete, and they had to find different ways specifically to maximize his speed. You know, he's not a super fast guy, but they have figured something out that unlocks his speed in different ways because he can outrun people. And you saw him looking for like guys that were chasing him in that 3rd and 17. He's like, okay, let me map out the field before I take off. And I loved that. That was beautiful. Like, understanding.
The thing that I noticed the difference in the way he used to run in college, he used to be more of a classic gait kind of guy with higher knees, driving forward, right? Now he kind of scoots.
Yeah, he does.
And I think that's enhancing his ability to change direction, to be more squirrely. Yeah. I think that's what's helping him. And so I know it looks weird. It certainly looks weird to me, but it works. We're going to take it. Steve, how do you think that Nick Bolton's development as a defensive play caller is coming along? I see nothing. And that's a good thing. That means he's getting the calls from the headset. He's getting it to the guys that need it. He's making adjustments to the linemen in front of him based on what he sees. I think he's smooth.
There is no confusion. Like, there aren't guys running around like with their
Whoa,
hands
what am I
up. Like,
supposed to do?
what am I supposed to do? He has taken the mantle, and it looks like you said, it's smooth. There is no communication problems right now. They have it figured out. They've got it down, and I really think that Reed has helped. Gay coming back has helped too. But at the end of the day, they've done a really good job of making this a seamless transition to a new green dot, and he's doing a great job taking that mantle this year and really being clear. I think that's the biggest thing, is he's clear about what everyone's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that helps a ton. Patrick, I saw an interview. Odell sounds like he's looking for a 3-4 year spot rather than just living out of a suitcase.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
that's what he needs to say. That's how you get a bigger bonus and a bigger total contract. I would not give him more than something that has an out after 2. And honestly, I don't think he wants anything more than a 1 or 2 year contract, because he will then get another payday.
Exactly.
Because every contract comes with that bonus structure, and that's dollars in your pocket. Thoughts on Justin Reed so far? What do you got, Dan?
So Justin Reed, he hasn't been talking a lot. You said hasn't seemed to make in big plays, but also doesn't seem to be a liability either. You're not going to see him make plays in the run game like very often. He does come down, but against really good running backs, and he did catch him with his eyes in the backfield yesterday, trying to get Derrick Henry on some of those plays. But he plays sound football. I think that's what you're looking for in his first season on this defense. Like, he's trying to pick everything up. He's talked about how complex this defense is. They have a good group, and making sure that the safety play is kind of seamless. He can do a lot of different things. He can blitz. They've shown multiple times that he can come in and blitz. And honestly, they kind of used him as an edge at times in the run game, which is interesting for me. You see him come down and kind of say, I'm going to try to force you back inside. So he's just a really good all-around player. And the fact that you don't notice him a lot in terms of cameras on him or things like that, it's a good thing when your safeties aren't being targeted a ton, and they aren't being shown a lot. So I think he's been just fine, and
Yeah,
that's good. That's what you want.
I'm with you. Steve, who is the main outside receiver if MVS is gone? I think you're going to have to ask Juju to move out there, and you're going to have to replace him with a bigger bodied guy, either in free agency or the draft or something like that. I don't know that MVS can survive after this season.
We're going to see what happens, but if it continues like this, where you get one target on 52 routes, he will not be here next year. I promise you, he will not be here.
That's just not effective dollars and cents.
No.
Nothing at all. Let's see. George Karlaftis' pressure numbers so far per game. Oregon, thank you. He leads the league, tied with Aiden Hutchinson with 24 pressures. That's in 8 games, so that's 3 pressures a game. Unfortunately, he hasn't gotten home except for the once, whereas Aiden Hutchinson has 5 sacks. Trayvon Walker has 3 on 20 pressures, but he is tied with only 1 sack with Kayvon Thibodeau, who's taken well ahead of him. Ebiketie and my guy Cam Thomas. Remember that. Cam Thomas has the highest snap win percentage of any pass rusher in the rookie class. I'm just putting it out there. I want you guys to know. Drake Jackson's coming on too. He's got 4 sacks on only 10 pressures. He's very sporadic, Drake Jackson is.
Yeah.
That's
what you were getting. That's what you were getting out of USC, though, and that's why San Francisco took them. They were like, "Hey, we can do something with this," and they have done something with that.
Yeah, but to your point, Oregon, like 3 pressures a game on average, that's getting there. Now it's just about the finish rate, and I think, quite frankly, as we saw last night, he was really close on a couple of plays, and that's because there were multiple guys getting looks, getting close to the quarterback, where he's not always the one flushing to someone else. I think that will come around as he develops. He'll be fine. I've been a fan of Gray since he was drafted. Last night's catch was great. Could he turn into the blocking tight end and more upside than pass catching? I think he's developed some blocking skills. I don't think he can be a quote unquote blocking tight end.
They'll be happy when Blake Bell comes back.
Yeah,
they'll be pretty happy.
Let's see. We answered something on that. I have not watched this guy or FSU. So do you have anything on those guys?
No. And I think, I've watched the first guy. And he seems to be a little bit more of a smaller, quicker guy that probably needs more weight. He has some length to him, but he's smaller. He's like 6'1", 6'2". He's not a huge defensive end in terms of what Spags typically looks for. He's maybe about 250. So he's definitely more of a faster around the edge guy who doesn't have, a ton of tools in terms like when I say tools, I mean the tool bag you bring to your pass rush. He has a lot of things. It's more mental for him. He sets up with some inside counters with speed off the edge. He sets up speed, sets up speed, sets up speed, and then counters back inside, which I'd like to see. So the problem is that for me, he does not hold up well at the point of attack, and he's almost a situational pass rusher, in my opinion, in the NFL.
Okay. Yeah.
The other guy,
So
no.
there's a spot for those guys too. They're just not high draft picks. That's all.
Mhm.
What's up, Tatum? Hope you're doing well, dude. And hello to the Rogue Nation out there. Joseph, hope you're well. Thanks for the support. Don't know if it was talked about yet, but did you guys see KT being open for 10 yards? I must have missed that one. I didn't see Tony like standing open.
No, I think he's talking about the whip route.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
It was 10 yards and he moved to get open. I think that's what he's talking about.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That play, it's on my timeline too, folks. If you don't know what we're talking about, go check that out. Yeah. Just
he's gonna be involved. He's gonna be involved, guys.
Just love to see it. I mean,
yeah.
Like we said last night, the fact they put him in the front 15 to make sure that he got a touch, that tells you what they're looking for here. Yeah. Glad, appreciate that. I try to bring the energy when we open. I know.
Bring it.
I know there's a lot of conversation, but we'll get through it. Daryl, thank you. It seemed that Mahomes was only looking for Kelsey last night. I mean, 12 targets to Juju as well. But yeah, I mean, Travis is always the first read. I think that will start to evolve, though, because I do feel like he's getting the confidence level in Juju that maybe it doesn't have to be that way here soon.
Yeah, and Collinsworth was 100% right when he talked about them using Kelsey as a disguiser now. Like they're starting to get comfortable enough to use him to get other people open, and that's beneficial for the offense.
Yeah. Actually, we'll come back to this, and I'll look it up because I haven't looked at the free agent class. Why don't you answer this one?
All right. Thank you, Swag Boy, for the question. Other than the AFC South, what team would you want KC to match up with in the first round of the playoffs? I have a question because we get the 1 seed. So I'm probably going to be very boring about this because I don't care who they play. It doesn't bother me. I'd like to see them play the Jets because I think Zach Wilson would just turn over the ball like a bad habit. It just continues to come back, and I would love that. I'd love that. Love to see them do that. Also get a nice look at future Chief Elijah Moore. And then I would love it.
That in there, buddy.
I'd love it, but those guys are all him, Tony, and Sky Moore don't make for the biggest wide receiver group. But yeah, I don't have it in an interesting like. Oh, I would love them to play these guys. I don't care. I think that whoever they play, they're gonna take them. It's the playoffs, and this team comes to play in the postseason.
Fair enough. Okay, so back to PK's question. Is there any tackle in the free agency group that you'd like to look at? Well, unfortunately, the next guy, Orlando, is going to be at the top of the class. The next guy down is going to be Jack Conklin, but he's primarily a right-hand player. George Fant also plays on the right-hand side. I don't think he gets out of New York, though. McGlinchey, right tackle. Then you get down into the Riley Reefs, the retreads. The only interesting one that I could see that, he doesn't either have to be a dedicated right, or he could be, a swing or a guy that could start either, is Wynn. I know everybody's down on him, but I still think that he's got some upside there. He's a little bit older. He's going to be 26 almost. But Isaiah Wynn might be the guy that you look at. And
also, remember, he played with Joe Thuney. You could play him on the left side. They might have some chemistry from, their Patriot days. That might be something to look into, but you're probably talking about, again, a hefty year contract, not what you're looking to pay Orlando or what Orlando Brown was looking to get last year, especially because he's had a couple down years in terms of public perception. So you might be able to get him on a deal and put him next to his old buddy in Joe Thuney. Maybe you get better play out of him.
Yeah, maybe you could. Because we'll see what the draft looks like. I don't know. PK, thank you. We appreciate it. Dez should be worried about ATN from Jacksonville since the Henry struggle. Very different runners, in my opinion. But as long as they play discipline, there shouldn't be any more problem with ATN other than the passing game than there is with Henry.
Yeah, you're not going to see ETN breaking guys off in terms of breaking tackles. He's going to get hit. He's going to go down. He's most effective outside the tackles. He's not the best inside of the tackle runner. You're going to probably see him get one-on-one with a couple of the linebackers in space, and that might be more of the thing I'm worried about in this game, even with Willie Gay out there. I still think ETN's a very good athlete in space. That's the key. He's got to have space to work with. Don't give him space. He's not going to be able to do too much.
Yeah, keep him railed in. I like that. Justin, good point. If you guys would hit that thumbs up,
go.
we'd appreciate it. 700 of us here tonight. We appreciate you. And thank you for the kind words, Justin. Appreciate it. Got Des, got Chris. The way we try to run the ball is absurd. Line up and move somebody with run power and traps. I mean, that's the thing, is that takes coordination and practice. And I think that's what we both feel is missing, that they just don't have the prep time for that. Because I agree, they should be better running power. I don't know that you want to run trap against that front. I thought that was a little bit iffy just in general, because they have a lot of penetrators on that defensive front that could have blown things up.
I'd like to see Pacheco get some pitches, some tosses,
That's
some
what
things
I'm
like
saying.
that.
I mean, we talked counter into existence about 4 games ago, Dan.
Yeah.
So we'll just start talking about the pitches. We just need to get them to the edge, folks.
That's it, man.
That's what we're looking for. Swagbo, other than the AFC South, what team would you want to match up against?
I talked about this one, yeah.
Oh, you got that one? Okay, good. Love the show and the podcast. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Larry.
Appreciate
and also love good offensive linemen. Yeah, there's some in there. They just got to dig them out. How awesome was Saunders last night? The motor was running on him all night.
Oh, man.
We're both very happy for him.
So the sack, man, the acceleration, just so good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm serious. You can line him up at 4 positions. He can play D tackle. He can play D end. He can play linebacker. And I'd put him in the backfield behind Mike Burton and see what happens.
I'd love it.
That's what I'd do.
I want to see him explode by somebody, just like try to tackle him. Like, nope.
Bye-bye. I got barbecue somewhere. Hardman was wide open in the end zone on one play, but Mahomes was looking at Travis. Yeah, absolutely. Those are the kind of things that happen, especially when he's pressured at all, because especially when he has that chemistry with Trav, when he has to move off of his spot and he doesn't have anywhere to go if he can't escape, he's looking to deliver the ball as soon as he can.
Hardman was also a backside dig, guys. I think we have to, or a post, whatever it was. It was the backside of the read. So if he's going through concept on the right-hand side, which is the play side read, it's 1, 2, and then get to the backside dig or post or whatever it was. If he's not there, he can't just get there. Yeah. Like it unfortunately, I would love for it to be always you got to hit the guy who's open, right? I'd love for it to just be like you have this sixth sense. Oh, he's open. Let me throw it here. I'd love it. Unfortunately, the reads do have a systematic way they go. Play side, backside if you have time, and the time wasn't always there.
Just one more. Lester, you're absolutely right. The Mike linebacker one. And we have that broken down here. It's here on the channel. You want to go see it again.
It is here.
It's fun. Was the lack of run game last night indicative of the fact that Pacheco is not all we hoped he could be? Then again, no running back looked good tonight. Kyle, I don't think it's Pacheco specific. I do think it is up front, and I do think it is asking him to do things against a stout front that don't necessarily allow him to do what he's good at, and that is accelerate in a straight line. Get him to the edge and give him a direction he can go.
Yeah, the one play that he had that was good that got called back from penalty, you saw the problem with him too at the same time, because he did run through it, and then all of a sudden he got into space. He's doing this. He's doing this. He's doing this. The dude slows himself down because he's busy doing this. Like, just go hit somebody. It doesn't matter, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. Thank you for that, Justin. Appreciate you pointing that out. And thank you, Kyle. Jake, I missed you there. How likely is Juju and Hardman back next year? I think Juju's virtually a lock here, and Hardman has probably priced himself out.
I don't know if he's a lock. I think Juju wants to stay here. I think he's accepted Kansas City. I think he loves playing with Mahomes and Reed. I think that will keep him here. But I do think that someone might overture and try to take him because of what he's doing. And it's not just the designs. He's healthy. He's running through people. Juju has a bit of swagger back, and I think that not just the Chiefs are noticing. I think other teams are as well. They might want a piece of that.
Yeah. Mo has an interesting question. Why is Leo playing over Harris? Because Harris is truly a middle, which means he has to be a backup because he got Nick Bolton.
Yeah.
Can he play Sam in a pinch? Sure. But Leo's a Sam. They've trained him to be that this entire time. And he can play middle as well. He did it at Wisconsin. But he's really a Sam in this defense. That's really it, Mo. I'd love to tell you that all 3 linebackers are interchangeable. They're not. There's only one Will on this roster. His name's Willie. That's just the way that it goes.
Harris had to play in a pinch.
Right. Oregon, do you think that PM doesn't look for McColl since he hasn't earned the respect that he'll be where he should be and he's not finished routes? I mean, it's probably subliminal, but It's got something to do with it. I just can't tell you how much.
Yeah, but I do think it's baked into the progression of his reads that Hardman's not always a go-to guy, and
Right.
that's kind of how that's just going to work. But I do think that lately he's been again much better. He's been earning trust. He's been scoring touchdowns. When you score touchdowns, you score 5 touchdowns in the last 2 games. You're going to get some respect from your team, and you're going to get some looks. And he's getting some looks.
Yeah.
Okay, they designed a touchdown for him as in the backfield. It was designed like he just we're going to do it. You're going to score a touchdown, and he did. Again, he stopped before the line of scrimmage on that play and scored a touchdown. That earns trust, that earns respect. So I think again, we're going to see it continue to be earned throughout the course of the season.
I agree with you. Robert, yeah, you must listen to Locked On Chiefs last night because he did get my game
He
ball.
did, absolutely.
It's always a good time when that happens. And folks, I see a lot of questions about Bucker. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know nothing about the mentality of a kicker. I honestly, anytime I played or coached, I never talked to those guys. They exist in their own bubble because they're doing their repetitive thing all the time. It's not something that you build on physically. You know what I mean? It's honestly about removing any variation. I just don't know.
Had a bad game.
Yeah, it
Move
happens.
on.
It's extra points. I'll take the 60 yarders over the extra points. Bruce, thank you for the support. If healthy, any chance that we sign OBJ to a multi-year deal with the idea of letting MBS go next year? If so, could they afford OBJ and Juju? After you.
I like where your head's at, Bruce. I like this. This is if again you play into everything the Chiefs could open up next year, they could be playing with $80 million in cap space, depending on everything that happens. Your head's in the right spot because if they can find a way to bring him in and say, well, we'll give you a little taste. You'll have yourself an opportunity to win a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the NFL. You'll have some incentives built into this year in the postseason and next year. And yeah, I think this is very nice thinking, Bruce. I like this idea. I like
Yes,
it.
the man's name is Brant Tillis. He'll be doing all this in your contract. This is how this will work. Awesome, Bruce. Appreciate it. General, I'm from Philly, and the Eagles are trash. I tell my cousins all the time. Name a team that is actually a contender. The only team they played is winning record is Dallas. Okay, fair enough, General. But, fly
Fair
Eagles fly.
enough.
I hope you guys are all right.
Someone's been hurt bad by that team.
Yeah, right. This is Avery. They may split MVP Hurts and Pat if the Eagles get the number 1 seed, similar to when Manning and McNair. That's certainly viable. However, if it's Josh Allen, they will not split. Pat gets the he'll get another one treatment. Yeah, I could see some of that. I don't know. There's a long way to go before we're handing out MVPs, though. Let's see who actually plays the most and who gets it. Has Juju cemented himself as wide receiver 1? I think we both agree with you, Jace. Thank you.
Absolutely, Jace.
Ryan, how do you feel that Nick Bolton is a top 5 linebacker? No, I do not. To be a top 5 linebacker in this league, you have to be elite at pass coverage from the linebacker spot, and he's not. But I would say he's a top 15 for sure. And amongst middles, I'd say he's a top 10 at least.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think that he's got a little ways to go in terms of his pass coverage. He may never get there, and that's fine.
That's okay.
That's fine. You don't have to ask him to do it. You don't have to ask him to be Willie Gay. He's not going to be Willie Gay. Let him do what he does, setting up the defense, calling the defense, get downhill. That play against the screen last night, it sparked the whole team. After that, they were untouchable. That's what it did. It gave him a spark, and that's what he's there for. Make a splash play. Make one.
Yes. And that is a leadership value that you have to covet, even if you can't be a quote unquote top 5. It's one of those guys that it turns into be a more important player to your defense than it is to the stats that he produces. That's going to be important.
Yeah.
Holly, you're cracking me up. I'm going to show your comment in a second. Geek on Harley, thank you. Not complaining, just saying KCSN gives F-bombs and stuff all the time. But it's okay, Ryan. You do you. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, that's definitely not me. And there's also a thing in the algorithm that only shows you to a narrow audience when you do use those colorful words. I always turn to you first in Chiefs content. Thanks, Geek. I appreciate it. And you know what? I'll just keep that behind closed doors a little bit. It happens sometimes. I am the son of a sailor, so I don't have much choice, to tell you the truth. And Miss Holly, this made me laugh here a second ago. Unlike Ryan, she is one of the weirdos that follows the kickers, punters, and long snappers. As you should be. They deserve fans too. I just don't know enough about it. So time stacks. How do you think that the running back room will play out in the future?
Oh man.
I think there's a guy that's going to get at least 200 yards rushing next year that isn't on this roster yet.
Isaiah Pacheco is the only running back on this roster that will be in Kansas City next year. That's my hot take.
Wait, Clyde's got one more year, doesn't he?
Does he?
I think he does. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know if it matters.
Oh, that's true. There's a fifth-year option coming up here too.
They can choose to ignore that, which I can almost guarantee you they will.
I hope so.
And as much as I defended Clyde to the ends of whatever I could, he is not fit in this offense. I'm done. I'm just done. I love him, but I can't do it anymore.
If he was a third-round pick, I'd have no complaints.
No.
He's a hostage to where he was drafted.
Yep.
No questions, but thanks for the work, gents. Thank you, David.
Appreciate you, David.
And David, thank you for your support on NFL 33. I see you over there.
Thank you so much.
We
everything over there.
When we branch out outside of Chiefs Kingdom, we often have a hard time bringing folks with us, but we appreciate you. Travis, thank you. Do you know the O-line push is bad when Burton can't get a 3rd and 1? Yeah, I agree with you. Although there was a gap. He went where he was supposed to go, not where he could have gone. I'll tell you that. I'll ask Mike about that.
In the run blocking department either when he was on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had some struggles too. But again, this is the best run defense in the NFL. We have to remember it's the best run defense in the NFL. So as much as it sucked watching that performance, it's not going to look the same against every other team. It's just
grain of salt.
Gotta try.
And I'll ask Mike about that when the offseason comes around.
There you go.
He won't be back till the offseason, folks, unless they get the bye. Yeah, well, we'll see. Do you think they should start Saunders? Sure.
Yeah. Right now, take the spark, put him next to Chris Jones on these early downs and see if he can hold up. And then you can say, well, Derek, guess what? You don't necessarily have much room in this offense, this defense anymore. You might push his way out. He has not been very good this year.
Yeah, no, Derek has definitely taken a step back, and I'm a huge nodding guy.
Me too.
It's tough to see. Tom, thank you. It's great seeing McDuffie back. Colin Saunders came on strong. And do you think that we have anything to be concerned with Butker? Not permanently, no. I think this is just going to be a thorn in the side. He's going to have some misses every now and then.
Yeah, we don't know. This is Andy Reid and the coaching staff at its finest. Is he actually healthy, fully healthy, 100%? I don't know. I have no way of knowing. That was a nasty fall that he took, a tweak. We don't have a clue. All I know is that even if he's hurt, he will nail a 50-plus yard field goal to win any game that they play in or to tie any. So that's all I care about. I don't care.
I have faith in that too. Yeah, I trust that. And that's huge. Oh, Daryl, I think we're both negative on the CEH 5th-year option.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Thank you for the support, though, buddy. What do you think?
It's been a turn, man. It's been a real year for me with Clyde.
Yeah, I know it. Sorry, bud. Everybody check out Avery. He's doing some cool stuff on his channel as well, analyzing draft impact. I like that one, by the way. Edge is his top priority, and tackles are important. It's a toss-up for me. Whoever the best prospect is of those groups, that's where I'm going. Mayor James, thank you for being with us, and thank you for your support, as always. At some point, Mayor, I got to get you on. Maybe in the offseason we could sit down at some point. Love to have a chat.
Let's do it. I love that.
Tom, thank you. Living in Nashville, if I had to put up with the Tennessee fans saying we got away with a ton of non-calls, can you speak to this? Again, there were more flags thrown and accepted on the Chiefs than there were on the Titans. That's all you got to tell them, Tom. Don't let them get you down.
Just if you have access to any All-22 tape, just show them all the Chiefs receivers being held every single play. They can't refute everything.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Tom. KCDEHW 21. I'm just going to go 21. If Orlando leaves the free agent, do they get a comp pick? It'll depend on his performance the next season, but yes. I don't think he goes somewhere and doesn't play. So yeah, it's pretty much a given. On the money, any chance Ronald Jones gets to play without someone getting injured? Hit 190 yards last year, and he's not even suiting up. No, I don't think so. What he did last year is honestly meaningless because it was such a different scheme. It's not what Andy does. And honestly, he didn't look explosive. He looked the least explosive of the four backs. He is a break glass in case of emergency guy only.
Yeah, I was never impressed with him to begin with, and
I liked his college film. I'm a little disappointed he's never really turned into something that can be 190 yards a couple of times a year.
yeah,
But
I'm with you there.
I don't think so, Money. I think it will take an injury to see him. Juju is good juju in KC. Yeah, I like that.
That's right.
No
Very
TikTok
good.
nonsense. None of this. Let's get serious, Juju. Welcome to the big leagues. Will Justin Watson be on the team next season? I think so. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's earned it. I think that just the touchdown grab that he made and the grab last night he made earned enough to be at least vying for a roster spot next year at the very least. So yeah, I think he will be.
Yeah. Okay. So we are on the same page. I'm grabbing the last couple questions, folks. Last call for super chats and the like, and we will get on with Monday Night Football. I know you guys want to go watch it. So do I. Let's see. Dez, thank you. Is it possible if Veach pays to add Jesse Bates in free agency? I don't think Bates leaves Cincinnati. But if he did, I don't know that safety's where they'd put their money.
Depends on if Juan Thornhill comes back, in my opinion.
Yeah. Juan did not have the greatest game. Oh, sorry, I hit the wrong button there. But I do think Juan still had a solid season.
Yeah, I think he's had a good year.
He'd be a cheap return, I'll tell you that. But I'm not sure yet. Good question, though, Des. Appreciate you. Tom, appreciate you as well. I hear a lot of people calling for Rojo to get more playing time, or even start. How much do you see this projecting down the stretch of the playoffs? Well, that's the question: is who's going to get hurt when? I could see CEH or McKinnon missing some time this year. Pacheco runs so hard, like I don't see a lot of injury proclivity for him. But I could see either of the other guys having to miss some time. They usually do. In which case, he should get a shot, and then it'll be what he does with his shot, in my opinion.
He will. If someone gets hurt, he'll get snaps because that's how they're using the running backs. So he'll just get snaps. So if it comes down to it, he's got to take advantage of the situation. If you're given an opportunity, make something happen with it, and you'll earn more reps. That's what they're asking someone to do, and no one's doing it. So
yeah, somebody that'd be great. Maybe. If you guys would check this out, if you want to get into the rogue gear or anything like that, that always helps the channel grow as well. We appreciate all of you checking it out. There's been a lot of folks looking around. We have the In Harm's Way come hopefully this week. I hope that will get up. Stevie, as long as he makes the game winner, that's the only game winner because of his earlier misses. I'm good. Okay. Well, I think I'm with you. I think if I read that correctly, I don't know. I'm pretty bad at this point in the night. So, hey, everybody check out Stevie and Back Talk Bros. That is their channel where they do their thing. It's awesome. Stevie, Gooch, Aaron. Make sure you check them out. Abraham, how do you guys feel about Andrew Weiling having less bad plays than usual? I think it's a plus. I didn't really count last night as less bad plays than usual.
It seemed to me the same. Like he was just the same player. And he had some good reps. He absolutely had some good reps. Multiple times actually. He was key on some short yardage situations and letting guys get through the hole and stuff like that. But I think Andrew Wiley is what he is. He's a backup tackle and he's your starter right now. So you are just kind of hoping that he doesn't wreck everything for you.
Yeah. And let's hope that eventually Lucas can play. Yeah. I like what I saw from Lucas last year when he was on the field. Let's cross the fingers. Holly, thank you. Okay, so Holly confirmed. Me and Stevie do agree. I didn't read that just terribly because I'm just bad at it. But hey, weaknesses we have now. Do we win out after last night? Oof. My gut says no, but I think it's a distinct possibility.
I'm gonna say no because I can't not side on that with this many games left. I just don't count on them winning that many games. But in the weaknesses they have right now are, in my own opinion, strictly in their head. They need to get out of their own way a lot. They need to look inside themselves in some of this adjustment on the play calling side. They've shown that if they want to stop the run, they can stop the run. They can do it. I know it was Malik Willis, so they didn't have to worry so much about the back end and the receivers and stuff like that. But they can. I think that who were brought up earlier, Saunders next to Chris Jones starting might be the way they go. It might just be we're kind of sick of getting gashed constantly to start games. So let's see what you got, Colin, next to Chris Jones to start games against this run game. Yeah, I'm with you with this. Let's knock on some wood here and see what happens. So weaknesses are all controllable if in their own realm, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I say keep it rolling. That's all we can really do. All right, folks. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for being here. This is always a fun one for us. We're going to have breakdowns, film, stats, etc. all week long. Don't miss it. Check out the shorts feed. Check out NFL33.com. And hey, if you did join the memberships tonight, get over there. You can check out Discord for free at bit.ly/RGR Nation. And if you want to come back and join the memberships, you can do that then. So thank you again. You guys have a great night. Thanks for the time, Dan.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Hope you enjoy this victory week and a game they really needed.
Rock and roll. Have a good one. We'll talk to you tomorrow.